Wow. So, first of all, how's everyone going? Or how's everyone doing rather? I'm going to let everyone roll in before we get really too into it. But how's everyone doing? I'm your host Rob. I'm here with my co-host Justin. We're bringing you guys the Celtics Talk Weekly post-game show. Well, the Celtics have dropped yet another game, the fourth in a row, to the Cleveland Cavaliers, 102 to 94. Jason Tatum led the way for the Boston Celtics, scoring 29 points, grabbing 8 rebounds, attacking along two steal blocks. Peyton Pritchard tacked along 15 points for the Boston Celtics, gave us a solid 7 boards. Evan Fournier also gave us 15. Like I said, let's don't want to jump right into it. I'm going to let people roll in here as we get started. I want to hear what you guys think. Make sure you guys are commenting. But before we get started here, Justin and I are going to talk about what the big announcement is, what everyone is excited to hear about. If you do follow Justin on Instagram, he did post it there. I reposted it. The Celtics Talk Weekly to kind of in the mood up a little bit because it's been a tough time being a Celtics fans right now. A lot of losses, a lot of painful nights going to bed. The Celtics Talk Weekly are bringing you guys a Celtics jersey giveaway. Pretty much the rules are simple. You got to be following us on Instagram, subscribe to us on YouTube, and just DM us your size for the jersey, what jersey you want, and proof that you're both subscribed and followed. So hopefully you guys will enjoy that. The winner will be announced at the post-game show after the last regular season game. So mark your calendar. The Knicks. So we don't know what time that's going to be because the NBA has yet to release that schedule because the time it should be an afternoon game on Sunday. We will be announcing the winner. And we'll go, further there. We'll DM you guys. We'll, fix things up. But let's get into it, Justin, here. The Boston Celtics, I said it again, I'll repeat it. Boston Celtics got defeated by the Cleveland Cavaliers 102 to 94. What's your takeaway here?
The Cleveland Cavaliers just straight up out hustled us. First and foremost, I thought we saw a lot of effort by Jason Tatum tonight compared to them what we saw yesterday against Miami. There were definitely moments, but not to really pick apart Jason Tatum's game too much tonight. He was the guy, though, tonight who produced the most for the Celtics on both ends. 2 steals, 2 blocks. He had an assist along with 8 rebounds and 29 points in 35 minutes. So obviously he carried his load. It was more the sense of the Celtics were really unable to really gather support tonight, right? Bench points, Pritchard played well. He had 15, but other than that, just 10 bench points. Luke Cornett, 3 points. Grant Williams, 7 points. And the Boston Celtics went with an 11-man rotation tonight. So that's very unsettling in a game where one of our keys to the game was to get unlikely sources scoring the basketball. And it turns out the Boston Celtics scored 94 points. The Cleveland Cavaliers have held the Celtics to 94 points.
Yeah, an overall disappointing game through and through. Like you said, 11-man rotation. Brad Stevens was looking for the answer to come in and give us some help with all these injuries, and he just couldn't find a player who could give us a good rhythm. It was a rough game for the Boston Celtics offensively. I thought we played a stellar defensive game. With that being said, we allowed Kevin Love to put up a 30-point performance, which is unacceptable. Especially when the other team's scoring, right over barely 100 points. To let a player score 30 on you really is a problem. I thought Jason Tatum played fine, but with that being said, playing fine tonight
clearly
wasn't enough, and playing fine was better than what everyone else was playing. I thought Pritchard did a decent job, but that brings us into our player spotlight of the game, player of the game. The Celtics Talk Weekly post-game player of the game, Justin. I think I know it, you know it, and I think everyone else knows it. The player of the game for tonight's game is Jason Tatum. He scored 29 points, 8 rebounds, and tacked along 2 blocks. Now, this was kind of a easy decision. It could have been Peyton Pritchard. I'd say he's our honorable mention. But like we said, no one could step up for the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, and as we speak right now, with the Celtics loss for the first time since 2013, we won't get into this too much, but the New York Knicks have officially clinched a playoff spot. Just wanted to throw that out there. The Boston Celtics, with this loss, have officially clinched a play-in spot. There's no way they can really fall out of it, and there's no way they can really get out of it. It's all about just ending up 7-10. But to get back on the track of Jason Tatum being really the lonesome player tonight, Rob, again, we talked about it in the pregame show. We had such high expectations for these unlikely sources tonight. The Celtics went with an 11-man rotation, and they just ultimately couldn't get it done. I understand we were very shorthanded, but guess what? I don't know if you guys watched the game on NBC Sports Boston, but I think there was 8 or 9 Cavaliers players missing. And that's just unacceptable on the Celtics' part. I mean, there has been absolutely zero effort. Again, 94 points. It felt like a Sunday game today. We had 39 points at the half, Rob. 39 points at the half.
Third lowest of the season, mind you. That is our third lowest points in a half. So not just the first half, second. Like it's just a half of basketball, not just the first half.
And you would have figured, oh my goodness, this is a Sunday afternoon game. The way the Celtics were playing, that's the way they were playing. And if you have kept up with the Boston Celtics this season, you would know that Sunday afternoons are the death of the Boston Celtics. And a late Wednesday night game felt like an early Sunday game.
Yeah, and for everyone who's watching, I want you guys to drop some comments down below, ask us some questions, give us your thoughts on the game. I'm really interested to see what Celtics fans think of this right now, because the Boston Celtics currently have dropped 4 in a row here. There's 2 games remaining in the season. We'll be playing the Minnesota Timberwolves on Saturday and the New York Knicks on Sunday, following in a back-to-back weekend. Times to be determined here. The NBA will be dropping those relatively soon, hopefully by Friday. Expect those to be daytime games, right around mid-afternoon, early afternoon. But, with that being said, Justin, I want to ask you a question here, because right now, does this loss against the Timberwolves or against the Cavaliers, is this the Celtics throwing in the white towel? Are they going to be missing the playoffs this season?
I don't think it should have taken this game to really ask that question, Rob. I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad question. It's not at all. I know what you're saying, but at the end of the day, you didn't think those 2 losses against the Detroit Pistons, you didn't think that loss against the Oklahoma City Thunder was enough for the Boston Celtics, as well as getting wiped out by the Charlotte Hornets. I think it's just another loss in the 2021 season where the Boston Celtics have had now as equal losses as equal wins. I mean, I believe they're 35-35 now, if I'm correct with this loss. Not pretty. It's definitely not a good look, Rob. It's not a good look. And to see Anderson Varejao out there for 3 minutes, score 4 points and 2 rebounds on the Boston Celtics, that's just embarrassing. No disrespect to Anderson Varejao. He's a Cavaliers legend, one of the better Cavaliers to do it. But to see him put up those numbers in just 3 minutes, 4 points and two rebounds for a guy who retired 2 years ago, not a good look on the Celtics.
Not a good look on the Celtics at all. The Celtics really struggled to find a rhythm offensively.
He pulled that graphic up.
I had to pull this one up. The Cavaliers. Now, I really want to point this one out too, because this, we've also lost to the Thunder, who lost 14 prior to this. And I don't know if you do or don't, I don't know. Listen to the Celtics Talk Weekly podcast. Me and Justin do have a podcast. Go check it out if you don't. But I think it was up on episode 3. We were talking about the Knicks and the Celtics and seeding, because this is really right around when Boston was, coming right off that 6-game streak. They went 2-2, right? They were playing some good basketball here and there. We were still a little bit healthy. And Justin and I were saying, like, you look at this schedule, as a Celtics fan. And I remember I said my mouth was watering. You played,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
had
you
games
did.
against the
Yeah,
Timberwolves, against the Cavs. You played the Bulls. You played the Magic. Sure, you played the Heat twice, but they're both at home. You get the crowd back to not max capacity, but 25% capacity.
yeah.
And then the Boston Celtics come out and just absolute. I mean, they're playing some of the worst basketball in the league right now. They are.
And I remember saying to you, it was like 7 or 8 games left, I believe, when you said that, or 6 or 7 games left when you said that. I remember saying, oh, the Celtics can go 6-0. And I was like, well, knowing the Boston Celtics this year, they can easily go 0-6. I think the Celtics are like 1-4 since we talked about that. And that's super frustrating. And if you watch the way we lose these games, it's even worse. I mean, I know a loss is a loss at the end of the day, but to come out with zero effort, zero heart, and then not give a flying crap till the final 5 minutes of the game. Like the Boston
Yeah.
Celtics were down, I think 13 or 15 with like 3 minutes to go, and then they cut it down to 8 or 6 again. They did the same thing against Miami twice. They did the same thing against the Oklahoma City Thunder. And they did the same thing against the San Antonio Spurs, only they were lucky enough to have an extra 5 minutes to pull it off in overtime. It's just getting to a point where when are you going to learn? When are you guys going to just wake up?
Yeah, I mean, it was, like I said, an overall really disappointing loss. And, as we transition and talk about the Celtics, I do want to hit on some of these questions that the chat is asking. What is the playoff picture for the Celtics now? Well, the Boston Celtics, following this loss, have officially punched their ticket to the play-in tournament. Now, this is new for the NBA season. If you don't know what the play-in tournament is, it's essentially the 7, 8, 9, and 10 seeds do a 4-team tournament to try to play into the NBA playoffs. The 7 seed hosts the 8 seed. The winner of that goes on automatically to play the 2 seed, which is the Brooklyn Nets. The loser of the 7-8 game goes on to play the winner of the 9-10 game, and they host the winner of that game. Winner of that goes to play the Sixers. The loser is eliminated. So for the Boston Celtics, we would either be playing the Philadelphia 76ers or the Brooklyn Nets. And, I think this is a good time to talk about this, Justin. And I want everyone watching this to put your opinion out now. I don't think if we make the playoffs, I don't think we win a game. I think we get swept. Yeah. If we play a healthy Nets team or the Philadelphia 76ers, and this is answered on this guy's question right now, do you think the Celtics can make noise in the playoffs? They have shown me absolutely no reason to come out here and listen, guys, I'm probably one of the biggest Celtics fans you'll meet. Justin and I both are. I mean, Justin has almost 30 jerseys, right? So we're these two huge Celtics fans, but I think at this point I'd be giving you guys false hope and lying to you if I said this Celtics team can make noise in the playoffs. What do you think, Justin?
If I'm going to be honest with you, I think this season is a huge W if the Celtics win a play-in game. If I'm being completely honest with you.
Yeah, 100%, dude. I agree.
Because it's just so up in the air. And not that this year's play-in teams are very tough. Karis LeVert is playing like his former self ever since he came back from that mass surgery. Obviously, Russell Westbrook is playing some of the best basketball in history, breaking triple-double records. Bradley Beal is having one of his best seasons in his career. And then Terry Rozier, LaMelo Ball making a run for Rookie of the Year. I know Gordon Hayward's injured, but he's having a hell of a year since he had left Boston. The Boston Celtics do not want to get in the mix of this play-in tournament, but guess what? It's too little too late. The Celtics are locked in. There's no getting out of it, and there's no getting out of it at all. That whether you make the playoffs or you miss the playoffs, the Celtics are stuck in the middle here. And it stinks because we're just good enough to not be in the lottery, but we're just bad enough to not win a championship. So it's just like stuck in the middle, and it's the worst. You either want to be stuck in the lottery where you get a valuable pick, you can get some valuable players in the season and rebuild, or you want to be right up there in the championship level. The Boston Celtics aren't known to be that middle top tier, or that
Yeah, I
middle
mean
tier.
this is coming after the Celtics being 2 games away from the NBA Finals. So this season I think caught us all by surprise, and obviously I'm a Celtics fan through and through. So I'm not giving up hope just yet. The Boston Celtics, you never know what magic they can put together in the playoffs. But our job, I guess you could say, is to give you guys our thoughts and opinions based off of what's put in front of us. And right now, what's put in front of us is some bad basketball.
There's no doubt in my mind. I would love to watch the Celtics go get an 18th banner. Even like
Yeah.
the regular season has meant absolutely zero in some seasons. Look at the 72-9 or what is it? 73-9 Warriors. They lost the championship that year.
Yeah.
There's been multiple times in the past where I'm sure there have been teams. Look at the Miami Heat last year. They had a rough regular season. I know it was the bubble. I understand that. Some complications. They were the fourth seed. They went in there, fourth or fifth seed. They went in there and they went. They came in second. They were right up there with the Lakers. So anything can happen in the playoffs. Intensity's different, but it'd be wrong for us to give you guys. It'd be wrong for us to give ourselves false hope. But also, I really don't know if I would be surprised if the Celtics just flipped that switch. We saw that in 2018. We saw two of our best players go down, Hayward and Irving, and we thought
Yeah.
we were screwed. And guess what? We were 9 points away from the NBA Finals against LeBron James or against Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors this year. Similar situation to where as if Jaylen Brown, arguably our best player, goes out for the remainder of the season. If we do make a run in the playoffs, I doubt he'll still come back. Anything's possible. It's just not looking pretty for the Celtics. I'm not ruling them out, but it's just not looking pretty.
Yeah, and with that being said, if the Boston Celtics found themselves struggling right now, but still had that 4 seed, 5 seed, I would feel comfortable with a second round, deep second round, potentially, early into the, early into the Eastern Conference Finals, right? If we're in that 4 or 5 spot, but we're playing either the 1 seed or the 2 seed. And I don't mean like as much. Like I said, I'm a Celtics fan. I follow all the Celtics stereotypes and whatever you want to say. So like as much as we have real estate on the Philadelphia 76ers, you want to say,
I don't know about that.
Is it fair to me to say? Is it fair to anyone to say, oh yeah, the Boston Celtics, the 8 seed or the 7 seed is going to go in and play the Philadelphia 76ers and catch up and beat them in a 7-game series this season? I couldn't say it.
I couldn't say it with the way we're playing. This team is a whole different team when they actually put their heads down and play with effort. And I mean a completely different team. We're just not getting that. Unfortunately, we're not getting that at the most important time of the season. And I feel like that says a lot right there, right?
Yeah.
Horrible execution.
This is like I said, Boston Celtics lost 4 straight. As much as we do want to talk about the game, I don't want to talk about the game. So I think this question is a little bit off topic, but I do think it's a good one. It's kind of a fun one. If the Celtics don't make the playoffs, who are you rooting for? Let's see what you guys say. Comment down below who you guys are rooting for. I told Justin and I were talking about this right before the pregame show, or maybe it was last night. I'm going to go for the Phoenix Suns. I think the Phoenix Suns would be great.
Yeah, I have 2 teams. The Phoenix Suns, for sure. Actually, I think I have 3. The Phoenix Suns, the Golden State Warriors, and the I know, say the Charlotte Hornets beat us, or we don't have to face them in the playoff path. It's not a guarantee as of right now we face the Hornets. I'd like to see the Charlotte Hornets make some noise in the playoffs. I doubt they'll do it, but I feel like they're just such a fun squad, a fun young team. I'd like them to, make it as far as they can, even if as far as they can, it's just getting out of the play-in tournament and winning a game or 2 in the first round. I think that'd be really interesting.
Yeah, and I honestly, at the end of the day, I just hope for some good basketball, close games, long series. As long as the the Sixers and the Lakers don't win, I really don't have a problem with any of the teams winning.
Yeah, the Lakers
Bec-
winning would be just horrid. I
yeah,
feel like
we
that would
can't
just
have
be the
that.
cherry on top to this horrible
Oh
season.
yeah, is the Los Angeles LeBron goes back to back. They now have the most titles in NBA history. So, I do think this playoffs will be fun with or without the Boston Celtics. Honestly, I think it might be a little bit better without the Boston Celtics. Save us some pain and agony. But with that being said, the Boston Celtics do drop their fourth game in a row to the Cleveland Cavaliers, 102-94. Jason Tatum, like I said, led the way with 29 points. Justin, before we close off the show right here, what do you want to see out of the Boston Celtics in these last two games?
I want to see us. There's nothing to say. I want to see the Boston Celtics finish this game out over 500, and I want to see the Boston Celtics finish this season out as healthy as they possibly can be going into the play-in tournament. As suckish as a season the Boston Celtics have had, obviously, as a Celtics fan, a Celtics journalist, whatever you want to call me, identify me as, I still want to see the Celtics succeed at the highest level. As of right now, Brown is out for the season. Likely Robert Williams is also out for the season. Hopefully that Kemba Walker, Marcus Smart backcourt tandem is ready to go on Saturday, because every game is big at this point. Even though standings-wise there's not much movement, it's still a big game. Like I said before this, there's a lot of momentum boosters. The Celtics could go into the playoffs riding on momentum of two big games. I also don't want to see the Celtics fall behind early in these games. Against both these teams, the Celtics have fallen behind early this season. The Knicks have clobbered us by 30 on our home court. We fell behind on the opening tip, and then it took us in overtime to beat the Minnesota Timberwolves. Jason
Yeah.
Tatum scored 53 points that game, but it had to take the Celtics an extra 5 minutes because they were down by 17 the entire game. So just get out of this season healthy. Go into the play-in tournament with at least the tiniest bit of momentum. That goes a long way, Rob.
Yeah, I agree. Finish this season over 500. It would be a shame to finish under or just 500. That's just not something you want to do, and anyone should want to do. From Brad to Danny to Tatum, But also, what I'm trying to see out of the Boston Celtics is I want to see these guys put together a great 40-minute basketball game.
Yep.
48-minute basketball game, because throughout this 4-game losing streak, we've really struggled with stringing together a great game. Just like today, I mean, if you see it, to start off the fourth quarter, we came out and we dug ourselves a hole. We go down 13 with 4 minutes left to go in the game, and we're a game where it's close all game. And then we come out at the start of the fourth quarter and we just dig ourselves into a hole that now we're playing catch up with 4 minutes. You're taking, contested shots. It's just like it's a constant trend now, and it can't hold up. And if it does hold up, we'll be seeing ourselves not go very far in the playoffs. But with that being said, though, it's been a crazy year for the Boston Celtics. From anything from COVID to injuries to no fans in the arena.
Been a very off-putting year, to say the least. I completely agree with you, Rob. You really couldn't have said that any better. Not to throw excuses on this Celtics season, because we've sat here for the last two post-game shows and trashed the Boston Celtics effort. I shouldn't say trashed, because there's a lot of respect, but at the same time, we've witnessed and we've expressed a lot of frustration towards the lack of effort that the Boston Celtics have been playing with. But before we wrap up, I just want to remind you guys that the jersey giveaway is on. Me and Rob looking to do something, give back to you guys. You guys have been supporting us through the first month. We've only been doing this a month. I joined this project just 3 weeks ago, and ever since then, me and Rob and I have just been having such a fun time. We're taking every bit of support we can get. with the podcast, YouTube. We're actually taking YouTube a lot more seriously than we probably anticipated because the support on it has been just absolutely insane. Our Instagram has been doing very well as well. So we want to give back to you guys, especially going into the playoffs, as off putting of a year that we've really had as fans and as players, as whatever to do with the basketball world. We just wanted to give back to you guys. You guys can go into the Celtics playoffs wearing the newest Celtics jerseys. So
Yeah.
go onto my Instagram, Justin Low NBA. I'm sure it'll be on the Celtics Talk Weekly Instagram as well. You'll get the rules, the deadline, and all that. And will we be announcing the winner on Sunday?
Sunday after the Knicks game, on the post game show, right back here. It will probably be towards the end of the show, but we'll let you know. It depends how the game goes. What's on the docket, what's on the script, whatever we have to put it up. But like Justin said, jersey giveaway. Hopefully you guys do enjoy that. With that being said, though, we do have a podcast, and if you haven't given it a listen, I recommend you do. I think it's a great listen if you're on your way to work, if you're working out, if you're just bored at home.
In school, a lot of people are doing school from home, and you get those off periods. Just take a listen.
Throw it on. Give us some feedback, whether it's on Instagram, add us on Twitter, DM us on Instagram. Come back here, throw out a comment. So yeah, anything like that, support helps. You guys have been awesome though, like Justin said. We've been growing so much this first month. Super excited for what the future has in store. But this has been the Celtics Talk Weekly post game show. I'm Rob. That's Justin. Thanks for watching.